Karen Huber hires new attorney before going to rehab. Karen Huber is facing legal action after being found guilty of driving under the influence. She fired her previous legal team and hired new attorneys. Her sentencing was also requested to be postponed as she is going to rehab. Karen Huber gets DUI. Karen Huber, a star on The Real Housewives of Potomac, is facing legal consequences after being found guilty of driving under the influence and other related charges following a car crash in March 2024. After a Maryland jury convicted her in December 2024, she decided to fire her previous legal team and hire new attorneys. She also requested a postponement of her sentencing, which was originally scheduled for January 29, 2025, to give her more time to complete a rehab program and for her new lawyers to prepare her defense. The judge granted her request, moving her sentencing to February 26, 2025. The charges against Karen include DUI, negligent driving, and failure to control speed. While a charge of reckless driving was dismissed, the crash occurred when Karen, driving her 2017 Maserati, struck a median, hit a street sign, and then slammed into a tree. Authorities arrested her after believing she was under the influence at the time. Karen Huber in rehab. In her motion to delay the sentencing, Karen's new legal team explained that they had recently taken over her case. They needed more time to review the evidence and prepare their arguments. They also mentioned that Karen had entered a private out-of-state rehab program, making it difficult for them to communicate with her due to the program's strict rules. She was scheduled to return from the program on January 28, 2025, just one day before the original sentencing date. Her new lawyers asked for an extension to file a memorandum on what type of sentence Karen believes is appropriate. Before her trial, Huber attempted to block body cam footage and statements she made to the police from being used as evidence. She claimed she wasn't read her Miranda rights, arguing that her interrogation was illegal. However, the judge sided with the prosecution, allowing the footage and her statements to be used in court. Huber's decision to enter rehab has been supported by her team and family. Her representative, Ryan Tresdale, confirmed in January 2025 that Karen chose to enter the program to focus on her recovery, which led her to miss the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion taping. Her former attorney, A. Scott Bolden, expressed disappointment in the jury's verdict but respected the decision, stating they would continue to pursue an appeal on Karen's behalf. Karen Huber sat at the grand dining table of her Great Falls estate, fingers wrapped around a crystal glass filled with the last sip of her favorite Chardonnay. She took a deep breath, scanning the opulent room that bore witness to countless moments of grandeur, shade, and, admittedly, a few dramatic confrontations. But today, the Grand Dame wasn't preparing for another signature Potomac luncheon or a sparring match with Giselle Bryant. She was preparing to surrender. To what? The truth. After months of swirling rumors, cryptic shade from her castmates, and her own attempts at deflection, Karen was finally ready to confront the issue head-on. She was going to rehab. But before she did, she had one last move to make. With an air of determination, she reached for her phone and dialed the number of the most high-powered, well-dressed, and media-savvy attorney she could find. "Mr. Langston, I trust you've read the blogs." Karen's voice was poised, but there was a slight tremor, one only detectable to those who truly knew her. "Mrs. Huber, I've read the blogs, the social media posts, and the blind items. I've even seen the TikTok deep dives. They're painting quite the picture," he said smoothly. Karen let out a small, knowing chuckle. "Darling, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that perception is everything, and I intend to control mine." Langston leaned back in his chair on the other end of the line. He had represented celebrities before, but there was something uniquely regal about Karen Huber. "So tell me, what exactly are we managing?" Karen exhaled. "I am voluntarily checking into a wellness facility to regain my strength, clarity, and most importantly, control over my narrative." Wise decision. But let me be clear, are we fighting any legal issues, or is this purely about public perception? Karen took a beat. No legal troubles, but we both know that the court of public opinion is just as ruthless. Certain cast members, no names, but I'm sure you can guess, are already spreading whispers that I'm hiding something more. A scandal, a secret, an arrest that never happened. Langston smirked. And you want to ensure that those whispers don't turn into headlines. Precisely, Karen confirmed. I need someone who can ensure that my statement, my image, and my future remain pristine, and, if necessary, ready to take legal action against any baseless accusations. Langston nodded. Understood. I'll draft a statement that positions this as a self-care initiative, a personal journey, and an act of strength. We'll emphasize your proactive approach, dismiss any insinuations of wrongdoing, and make sure that no one tries to twist your story. Karen raised a brow. Make it powerful, darling. You know I am the grand dame. I don't do fragile. The following morning, Karen emerged from her estate, dressed in an impeccably tailored white pantsuit, accessorized with oversized sunglasses, and of course, her signature elegance. Waiting at the foot of her grand driveway were a few paparazzi, their cameras flashing as she stepped toward the awaiting black SUV. Mrs. Huber, is it true you're checking into rehab? One shouted. Karen, is it alcohol, pills, what's really going on? Another asked, their tone sharp, probing. She paused, slowly lowering her sunglasses just enough to meet their eyes. With a composed smile, she addressed them. As the world knows, I have always been a woman of grace, resilience, and authenticity. I believe in taking care of myself, mind, body, and soul. I am choosing to step away for a time of wellness and reflection. No scandal, no shame, just self-care. And I encourage everyone to prioritize their well-being as well. The cameras kept flashing, the reporters kept shouting, but Karen simply slid into the SUV, where Langston sat beside her, nodding approvingly. Well played, Mrs. Huber. She turned to him with a knowing smile. Darling, you haven't seen anything yet. As the car drove toward the undisclosed luxury rehab facility, Karen leaned back, exhaling for the first time in what felt like years. This wasn't just about damage control. It was about reclaiming her power, her truth, and most importantly, her throne. The Grand Dame of Potomac was not stepping down. She was simply stepping away, to return stronger than ever. She paused, slowly lowering her sunglasses just enough to meet their eyes. With a composed smile, she addressed them. As the world knows, I have always been a woman of grace, resilience, and authenticity. I believe in taking care of myself, mind, body, and soul. I am choosing to step away for a time of wellness and reflection. No scandal, no shame, just self-care. And I encourage everyone to prioritize their well-being as well. The cameras kept flashing, the reporters kept shouting, but Karen simply slid into the SUV, where Langston sat beside her, nodding approvingly. Well played, Mrs. Huber. She turned to him with a knowing smile. Darling, you haven't seen anything yet. As the car drove toward the undisclosed luxury rehab facility, Karen leaned back, exhaling for the first time in what felt like years. This wasn't just about damage control. It was about reclaiming her power, her truth, and most importantly, her throne. The Grand Dame of Potomac was not stepping down. She was simply stepping away, to return stronger than ever.